Senator John McCain is just back from his trip to Syria, where he met with opposition leaders. Senator McCain, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Want to talk about Syria in a moment, but let's pick up where Peter left off, and that is this investigation into the IRS. Darrell Issa, the head of the Oversight Committee in the House, says that his gut tells him this goes beyond the Cincinnati office into Washington. He released excerpts of some emails that might support that theory. They're not conclusive. Do you take the Inspector General of the IRS at its word, saying this was something that happened in Cincinnati and went no further?
I think that's the reason why we ought to have hearings. In fact, maybe even a select committee may be called for, with given the questions surrounding this investigation. So I think we ought to wait and see how events unfold. It certainly, when you look at the people that were targeted, it might have been something different than accidental. But I think we ought to have hearings, and I think that there may be an argument for a special counsel here, but let's, I think, wait and see.
I have to ask you about this latest video that's come out of IRS employees at an employee event learning to line dance. This is at taxpayers' expense. Your reaction to seeing that?
You just wonder, why do they keep doing this stuff? I mean, it hurts their credibility enormously. Suspicions confirmed about what federal employees do, and we all know that there are many hundreds of thousands of dedicated federal employees who work hard every day for us.
Let's talk about Syria. You recently returned from a trip there, and you said actually yesterday that you believe Bashar al-Assad now has the upper hand in this conflict. You've long advocated for a no-fly zone, for arming elements of the opposition. At this point, would that even be enough? If the U.S. went in, are you sure that wouldn't be just the first step in an ever-deepening involvement by the U.S.?
I believe there are no good options, and every day it gets worse. More jihadists flow in. We see by this morning's news that the fighting has spilled over into Lebanon as a natural consequence of this continued fighting. Air power is decisive in this kind of terrain, in this climate. For example, in Qusayr right now, Bashar's forces are surrounding this town of 50,000 people. They got hundreds wounded, and they're pounding it from the air. So they need heavy weapons against tanks, and they need the kind of anti-aircraft missiles we need to supply them with. But we have to have, in my view, the no-fly zone as well.
You know the reluctance on the part of the administration is that you arm the rebels and you may unwittingly arm jihadist elements. You yourself just said jihadists are pouring into this country every single day. Even if you can get the weapons to the right people, as you've said you believe we can, how do you make sure they stay with the right people, they don't fall into the wrong hands?
Well, if we make them strong and give them the strength that they need to prevail, then others will gather around them and support them. But look, is the status quo, which is clearly a situation where it's turning into a regional conflict, where thousands and thousands are being massacred as we speak, as Bashar Assad, thanks to Hezbollah, thanks to the Iranians, thanks to the Russians, thanks to jihadists all over the Arab world pouring in, is that a satisfactory situation? It is not. And we've got to change the equation on the ground. This whole scenario in the Middle East could erupt into a conflict of enormous proportions. And we just can't sit by and watch it happen.
Before I let you go, very quickly, domestic politics. Do you still have faith in Attorney General Eric Holder?
I think Eric Holder has some questions to answer. I think that Eric Holder has damaged his credibility, and I think he should ask himself whether he's really effectively serving the President of the United States. But clearly there have been some contradictory statements, and the press understandably should be concerned about what we have found about their tactics.
Senator John McCain, I know your son got married over the weekend. Congratulations to you. Good to see you, sir. Thank you.